My father let my narcissistic mother control and torment both of us, never once defending himself or me, yet he boasted about being a role model for forgiveness. My father has always been against any confrontation or argument. He's extremely passive, refuses to stand up for himself, and avoids conflict. If someone's not paying attention while walking and bumps into him, he insists it's his fault. If his employer would mess up his salary, he wouldn't bother fixing it. If a mechanic didn't properly repair his car, he would just accept it as is. This unfortunately resulted in a tumultuous childhood with my insanely narcissistic mother. She controlled his every move. She got him to quit his job and be a locked-in stay-at-home dad. She had him do every chore. She insulted him at every step. She cheated on him relentlessly, and even brought affair partners into our home. She enjoyed making his life miserable daily, and he never questioned it. My extended family, God bless them, were there for me so many times, as much as they could be. They tried to make my father leave for years, but he never budged. When she would direct her anger onto me in the form of screaming, insulting, or general demeaning, my father never once found the guts to stand up for me or support me. When I was a kid, if I cried to Dad about something Mom did or said to me, he would sweep it under the rug or just insist I forget about it. Heck, he would even try and justify it. As I got older, it really set in for me how messed up this was. My mother gladly kicked me out of the house when I was 18, and my father just sat there and looked sullen, didn't say a damn thing. I joined the Air Force almost immediately and got stationed on the other side of the country. The dynamic was awful, and I could have easily gone down the wrong route, if not for therapy and the amazing people I met along the way. It took me years to get into a better mental space. I was filled with hatred. My mother left my father 2 years after I got stationed and utterly destroyed my father in the divorce. She died a year later in a DUI with one of her affair partners. I'm almost 30 now, and I have a girlfriend who's perhaps the best thing to ever happen in my life. I fully understand the situation with my family. I've learned to not let myself be consumed with anger and resentment by my past, or so I thought, you'll see, and instead put that energy into my future. I've been extraordinarily low contact, nearly no contact with my father since I left. As much as I try, I cannot make that connection with him. I recently went to a family reunion and brought my girlfriend with me. My father was there as it was his side of the family. They have many issues with him, but he is family, so whatever, I guess. I made sure to avoid him. I was chatting with my uncles when I heard my father talk in the background. He was discussing how a co-worker of his was going through a divorce, as he discovered his wife was having an affair and was positioned to have a very favorable divorce on his side. My father remarked how his co-worker should work instead to forgive his wife and, by his own words, set a good example for unity and forgiveness, and how he believed he set a great example for me to that extent. I swear it was like a switch went off in my head, and I was mentally back to being the rage-filled 18-year-old. All these years and he never learned a damn thing. I turned to him and asked if he was serious. He looked at me and started to stutter. I knew the next minute was pure word vomit, and I can't relay it perfectly. But to sum it up, I shouted how he was a pathetic father. A pathetic man. His family all know he's a disgrace of a human being who would rather his son be treated like crap than defend him, because he's a coward. No one would ever see him as an example to live by, and he should never ever believe anyone respects him. I began to derail and ramble between my shouting, and my girlfriend quickly took me out and drove me home. It was insane just how quickly being away from him made me feel better. She held me when we returned and told me it was okay. Again, the best thing to ever happen to me. I was ashamed of how I lost it and am now going to resume my therapy. That's a given. However, I'm glad I finally unloaded the stuff that always needed to be said to him. Extended family is pretty mixed with reactions. His brothers, my uncle, said it was time for him to hear it from me. My grandparents are angry that I did it in front of the entire extended family, and some say I should have done that behind closed doors instead of everyone. Am I the idiot for losing it and calling my father a pathetic man in front of his family? I was so ready to give you the benefit of the doubt. After all, you never met the man he was before meeting your mother. Your description sounded like someone delusional after years of abuse in a toxic relationship. However, you had a horrendous childhood due to his inability to protect his child. Decades later, he isn't even remotely regretful. Worse, he's proud of himself. What the heck? He was gloating about his own failures. Not the idiot for snapping at him. It wasn't uncalled. Dude, this will be unpopular, but you are the idiot. There are a million better ways to talk to your dad about this. Instead, you pitched a fit out of nowhere, verbally abused the crap out of him, and basically just embodied your mother. It wasn't your place to do that, and it was selfish. Your lack of control over your emotions is messed up. Disagree. If one of your parents constantly abuses you and the other parent sees it happen and lets it happen, they are also an abuser. For those saying you should have done it privately, It's not like you planned it. You got triggered and literal years of abuse regurgitated onto him. If one parent is abusive and the other doesn't stop it, they're also abusing you. I'm glad you got to unload, but I think you do need to apologize to your grandparents and other family, if you're close to them, for offloading in front of everyone. I'm not at all saying you shouldn't have confronted your father. You obviously needed to do so, but the timing and location probably weren't the best place. Good luck processing this through therapy, and I'm glad to hear your partner is being so supportive. I, 32F, have a daughter, kindergartner Ava. I got scheduled for another shift on Friday at the last minute and got Ava's classmate, Lisa's mom, to pick her up from school, and I'd pick up Ava on my way back from work. I've had Lisa over many times at my house, but I struggle to feed her as she's a very picky eater, but I try my best. I picked up Ava at 7 o'clock and in the car. Ava said she was starving. I asked her if she'd had anything to eat, and she said no. Lisa and her family had dinner, but she hadn't. I politely messaged Lisa's mom to thank her again for taking in Ava at such short notice, and asked why Ava hadn't eaten anything at the house, as she hadn't eaten since lunch at 1. Lisa's mom was offended and called me entitled for expecting her to feed Ava on short notice after doing me a favor. Ava has yet to be over at Lisa's long enough to have food before, but as the whole family ate, I assumed Ava would have been included. Lisa's mom brought up how when I have Lisa over, she doesn't eat, but that isn't because of a lack of trying. Lisa said Ava didn't say she was hungry, so she didn't know, but I think it's still strange that the whole family ate, and nobody offered for Ava to join them. Wow, not the idiot. People are so strange. As an adult, why would you intentionally leave a child out for a basic necessity? This is not normal. Lisa's mom doesn't sound like a friend to you or Ava. I also imagine them eating at the dinner table and poor Ava in a corner, wishing she could have a bite. Lisa's mom booked a last-minute power trip to Idiotville with that move. Yep, I feel so bad for your daughter. I've been that kid who was told to sit in another room alone while my friend's whole family ate dinner. It makes you feel really excluded and alone, especially when you're hungry but maybe feel scared to ask for food. I mean, she's a kindergartner. I barely have the strength to ask for food at a friend's house now at 31. I can't imagine getting up the nerve at a friend's house with someone's mom who's clearly giving off vibes that she didn't want to feed her. Hopefully she doesn't remember those feelings too much since she's so young, but that's ridiculous. I doubt she would have had that big of a portion anyway. Who treats a kid like this? Stay away from this woman and anyone else in that house who thinks it's entitled to expect a person, a kid at that, to eat with the family. I feel like she was trying to get back at you for failing to feed her daughter. But even there, she's wrong. If you have an extremely picky eater, you send the kid with their food when they visit other families. Just wow, shameful. I, 32 female, have been having a bit of drama with my younger sister Ramona, 30 female, about her daughter Egwin Alvar. Yes, dear reader, that is her real name, and is the root of the issue. I love my younger sister and we've always gotten along pretty well. However, she's always been into nerdy pop culture stuff. She plays Dungeons and Dragons weekly, loves Marvel movies, and is obsessed with fantasy novels. As you may have guessed, her favorite is the Wheel of Time series. Now, I know next to nothing about this series, but I knew enough that it wasn't a name she came up with on her own. When she announced that name, there was a bit of confusion and disapproval from the family, but no one strongly pushed back on it. That honor went to me. I tried to approach the subject calmly. I even gave her the "you're naming a human being" speech, but she said she knew best. After a brief back and forth, I flat out told her that her daughter would get bullied. She blew up at me, and I didn't push the issue any further because I could see that she wouldn't budge. Fast forward and Gwen is a happy, healthy tween girl. However, she's been voicing lately that she hates her name. The teachers at school always get it wrong and her classmates tease her constantly. None of this is helped by the fact that Ramona insists on calling her Egwin Alviri, not just Egwene or Gwen, which she much prefers. Well, the two have been bickering a lot lately. Ramona has tried venting the Egwene Alvir won't shut up about her name and she doesn't know what she'll do about her. I kind of sarcastically said, "If only someone had warned you." She asked what I meant, and I said she named her daughter something stupid, and now she's facing the consequences. She said she didn't know why she even bothered coming to me, and she should have known I was just going to be a witch. I told her if she had put more thought into naming her child, she wouldn't be in this situation. She decided my niece couldn't come to my house anymore, because I was putting bad thoughts into her head. She's also roped in our mother, who agreed with me about the name but said it was a low blow to bring up that I had warned her, and that I should just screw it up and apologize. I don't think I need to apologize, but I thought I should get an outside opinion. So am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What are you supposed to say? I'm sorry that I tried to convince you not to name your child something that would see her bullied. It's my fault that your daughter hates a name like I said she would. Really? How the heck do you even pronounce that? I read it as egg weenie. That's a child that will pay to legally change their name when they turn 18. If you want to be a good aunt, I'd look into it, get all the info and paperwork, and get the money for it for her 18th birthday. Best birthday gift ever. And why is freaking Alvear? It sounds like the mom here uses the full egg weenie Alvear every time. That's like naming your kid Harry Potter instead of just Harry. I honestly don't think egg weenie alone is that bad. It's not a great name and it's going to be mispronounced. But as our kid here learned, the nickname Gwen is fine. Adding Alvear was dumb. That is exactly what I was thinking. My father let my narcissistic mother control and torment both of us, never once defending himself or me. Yet he boasted about being a role model for forgiveness. And mom won't just call a Gwen or even an egg weenie. It's the full name all the time. Mom has made the name a battle. One of my kids preferred a short version of his name starting at age 7. So that's what we call him. Because my kids are full-blown humans with their own preferences and tastes. Kids aren't billboards for a person's fandom. Your sister is an idiot, deserve to be told. I told you so. So here's the situation. My brother, 30, and his wife, 29, female, have 3 preschoolers. They're blood-curdlingly loud and have zero respect for boundaries. Last weekend, I cleaned my house from top to bottom for the first time in months because I've been super busy with work. I was finally going to enjoy a little peace. Out of the blue, my brother shows up at my door with his kids in tow, claiming he needed a quick favor. I thought quick favor meant a couple of hours, so I reluctantly agreed, thinking it would be manageable. But no, he dropped them off at 10 a.m. and sped off to God knows where, leaving me to deal with them for the entire day. These kids turned my whole living room into a tornado's aftermath. They dumped all their snacks on the carpet, used my couch as a trampoline, and drew on my walls with crayons. When I attempted to discipline them, my brother's 4-year-old told me, "You're not my mom," and just laughed as he threw a toy directly at my favorite lamp, shattering it into pieces. Here's the cherry on top. When my brother finally returned at 8 p.m., he didn't even acknowledge the mess or apologize. He just grabbed the kids and left, saying, "You're the best." Seriously. I snapped and told him that I wouldn't babysit for him anymore. Now he's furious with me, claiming family should help each other out and I should be more understanding. Am I the idiot for standing my ground and cutting him off? First, send him a bill for the broken lamp and any other expenses caused by his children. Not the idiot, and I would also refuse to babysit until they're more manageable or have learned better behavior. 3 kids that age are a handful. However, you did not sign up for that life. You should have gotten more specifics on his return, but he likely didn't share that info because he thought you would say no. He didn't appreciate your help, so if it has no value, he can get it elsewhere. Send him the bill for everything. Cleaning the lamp, everything his crotch goblins did. Tell him never again and block him. If you don't have a doorbell camera, get one. Don't answer the door for him again. And if he dares to leave them at your door, please call XEPS and let them take the mini monsters. I second this. He needs to pay for any damage. It's no wonder they don't have anyone to watch their kids and are struggling to find someone since they let their kids run rampant. Take pictures of everything that his kids destroyed, the damages they did, and the prices to send a bill his and his sister-in-law's way to pay for the damages. And if he refuses to pay for it, take them to court. Family helps out family is the catch cry of entitled idiots who always take but are never willing to give back in turn. It always applies to everyone else, never to them. My sister's house is basically overrun with rodents. Every time I visit, I hear scratching and scratching. Sometimes I even catch a glimpse, very creepy and unhygienic because I'm sure the droppings are everywhere. The reason they're around is because my sister is a hoarder. She keeps all these old food packages lingering around in stacks all over the house. I've kind of gently hinted that she has a problem before, but she'll deny, insisting that it's just normal clutter, or that it's just not trash day yet. My nephew Jim works 2 part-time jobs and volunteers on the weekend since school has been out. I think he's just trying to get out of the house. Every time I see him, he seems so defeated and down. Recently, I visited him and my sister talked about how she plans to bring in some new wallpapers to remodel the house and give it a fresher look. Jim sounded cheerful enough at first, but midway through the conversation, tears just started rolling down his face. He looked embarrassed, awkwardly said sorry, and left. My sister explained he's been in moods lately and said, "You know, teen years." I said, "Teen years? Have you ever stopped to think he's unhappy because you're a damn hoarder and his home is full of mice?" My sister got offended and said, "How dare I call her a hoarder? The only reason I've seen her house even slightly unclean is because I'm her sister and she trusts me enough to be casual." I didn't mean to upset her or be so mean, but I just felt so bad for my nephew and I was tired of hearing her excuses. But now she's upset with me and I regret it because we've been so close over the years. Am I the idiot? Should I just apologize? Not the idiot. A call to the authorities might be in order. If your sister cannot or will not clean her home, then your nephew needs to be removed from it. Breathing in the air in a house with rats can make you sick. Leaving old food around the house is just as bad. This isn't safe. You were right to point it out. You owe it to her to give her a heads up before making such a call. Give her one last chance to clean up, but be ready again down the road. If she's a true hoarder and she does clean, don't expect it to last. It's long past the time to worry about her sister's feelings and the time to put her nephew's safety first. The respiratory issues alone are reason enough to speak up. For heaven's sake, stop enabling her. You are the idiot for not taking measures a long time ago. Call CPS and take your nephew into your house. Your sister won't change unless forced to. The only way to force her is to get the authorities involved. Stop coddling the adult and help the kid who doesn't have a choice.